Welcome to another lightning talk from Nalty. Today I'm going to talk about Agile versus Waterfall, an eternal battle. But is it really? My name is Germán Palacios and I am the lead product manager here at Nalty. Let me start with a brief story. During the weekend, I was doing some laundry, and a crazy question came into my mind. While doing laundry, am I applying Agile or Waterfall? So, let's see. I usually split the clothes between white and color. I wash the whites, then I dry them, and I repeat the same for color. So, do you think it's a cycle? Or is it a waterfall approach? After thorough consideration, I realized that I was applying neither of them. Because this was not a project or a product creation, it was an ongoing operation. As simple as this conclusion may seem, it is very powerful, in the sense that we tend to see daily operations as projects, which are not. Based on the PMBOK, a project is defined as a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result. Clearly, laundry is not a project and is definitely not a new project. So, let me share a quick takeaway. You need to apply project management methodologies to projects. Use operation management approach for ongoing operations. So, having said that, the question remains, Agile or Waterfall? Online, you can find a lot of articles tackling this debate, also incorporating the hybrid approach. The debate is endless, and I cannot pretend to end it with a single strike. But that is the thing. I do not think that the relevant question is waterfall or agile as a whole, but is more on a project basis. You need to think what is more convenient for the project you are about to start. But first, let's look into the project. A project lifecycle consists of four stages: starting, organizing, and preparing, carrying out the work, and ending the project. No matter the project you are running, in one way or another, you always execute these stages. Please note that in this graph, the axis X is not necessarily time. It indicates moments of a project. So, for example, when you see the planning line, you need to do planning at all the moments of the different stages. So, here's another takeaway. The phases of a project may be sequential, iterative, or overlapping. So, let's go back to the different approaches. The waterfall approach is known as predictive lifecycle. It means, this implicates that the scope, cost, and time are determined in the early phases of the lifecycle. The agile approach, on the other hand, is known as adaptive, and it considers that the detailed scope is approved before an iteration. So let's throw a couple of examples here. Let's say you're planning an event, such as a big anniversary or a wedding. Usually you have a fixed budget, maybe with some room for change, but is not infinite. You may also know some requirements, such as the date, the number of persons that you want to invite, and maybe even have some preferences for the decoration and location. You may sit down and start taking some decisions upon the things that you want, and as you keep talking with service providers, you end up deciding upon all of the different elements in detail, so that before the event takes place, you have a detailed scope of what you are expecting to happen. This is a good example of a project where the waterfall approach is great. Is by the moment you join the party, you do not want to keep iterating. So let me throw another takeaway. Waterfall performs well when the scope is well known and contract terms limit changes. On the other hand, creating a new mobile app or even a business are ideal candidates for the agile approach. In the mobile app example, you may have a vague idea of how it may look and how people will be using it, but you need to make sure it offers enough value to the end customer. You may run some user testing, which will reduce risks, but accurate usage data will come from real users. So, what do you do? Of course, do not go all in with the investment money, and so you start small and start iterating. You execute a prototype and gather feedback, then an MVP and collect more information. You adapt the scope as you go until you have the first version of your app on the market. So, let me share another takeaway. Agile works well even if the scope is not defined in advance. So, we can find examples that are suitable for Agile and others that are suitable for Waterfall. And as I mentioned before, the conversations is endless. In this brief talk, we just focus on the project scope, but as you can see, there are a number of elements that you can discuss and go over and even try to think of a different way of looking at things. But at the end, it's just as the PMBOK mentions. It is up to the project management team to determine the best life cycle for each project. So it's not a matter of good versus bad kind of choice. It is more on what works best to achieve the objective that you are aiming for. So, as a final takeaway, it is better to know both approaches and take the benefit of each when needed than only having on your mind only one approach. So I hope you have enjoyed and you may seem things a little bit different in terms of Agile versus Waterfall. And see you on the next time. Thank you.